Andrew's sleeping. There, it looks like we're live. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay. All right, welcome everyone to ETHVan every Thursday. Moving forward, we're going every Thursday. I know we did the 2 weeks throughout the summer. Hope you all had a fantastic summer. Summer's gone. It's over. Back from Singapore now. I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened here? It's like, it's freezing. Yeah, had to wear a hoodie tonight. Anyway, yeah, so every Thursday we're back here doing some sort of talk or presentation or panel or maybe just a little get together. But we're here every Thursday, so thank you. A few new faces in the room here, so great to see you all. And yeah, so we're just down here at Decontrol. This has been like a super long running hacker crypto clubhouse hackerspace type thing. So yeah, been here for like over a decade. We're killing it. Yeah. There's a few other things that go on here. I think Tuesday nights, every second Tuesday, we're doing like a jam night as well. So if you're into music, do that. Monday nights is like poetry / open mic night as well. I think that's still happening. And I don't know if we've got anything else that's too pressing coming up soon, TM. I know like Solana does a bunch, just, you know, it's not really Ethereum related, but the Solana has the super team thing. Just throwing that out there on Fridays.
Well, I have a little bit of alpha for you.
You have an alpha?
Oh, not alpha, but it's really early and it's nothing concrete yet, but we're working on Hyperliquid Canada.
Hyperliquid Canada.
I guess like chapter or segment of people who are interested in Hyperliquid. So we'll let you know. We're just figuring it out. So probably by next week we'll have the details.
Okay. Who here knows what Hyperliquid is? Oh, that's a pretty good room. Oh, yeah, 50. Yeah, a little bit higher even. Yeah, all right. Sweet. Well, we'll get into it a little bit more here soon, I'm sure. But yeah, with that, I don't know. Anything else we've missed? I think we're good. Hey?
We don't have that much going on, so I think we got it.
Perfect. All right.
Nice. Hey, thanks for coming, everybody. Good to see some familiar faces. And some new people too. How many people was your first time here? Just so I get an idea. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, got it. Cool. All right, sweet. And how did you hear about ETHVan? Just curious. Well, I know from our mutual friend. Anybody else? The website? Well, which website?
Like,
you found?
So how did you find?
How'd you find the Decontrol website? Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect.
Oh, I see. All right, sweet. Okay. Well, nice. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay, sweet.
Welcome back.
Where'd you move back from, if I may ask? Atlanta. Nice. What do you like better, Atlanta or Vancouver? That's not the right answer. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Hey, everybody else. Was anybody else here in Singapore last week for the Token2049 conference? You were? Why didn't you hit me up?
I went and saw him. I went and said hi.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Maybe it's my bad. Okay, cool. Okay, so for everybody else, there was like a big crypto conference last week in Singapore called Token2049. The 4 panelists you see before you were there last week. And we just thought that we would tell you a little bit about it. And what were you going to say? You sure? Okay. So I was thinking maybe we could start with, we're just going to talk about our experience there, I think. Like, we're just here we were there, and it was a crypto event, and this is a crypto meetup, and we're going to tell you about, like, the experiences we had, and might find it interesting. Maybe we could start with, like, our favorite experience at the conference, the one you can tell, like, a fun or, like, passionate story about, maybe, and then people can get an idea of, like, the best moment you had being there that week. Does that sound good?
I think maybe it might be helpful to, like, also quickly introduce oneself and describe their like focus while
Uh,
they were there, because like
I
something I
see.
realized like going there
Yeah.
under a different mission than previous, it kind of changes your whole perspective and
Nice.
like
Good idea.
the events you go to and the people you speak with. I don't know if that's
yeah,
helpful.
because I was thinking there's only a few new people. Most people heard us like give the intro a bunch of times, but I think that's a good idea actually. Yeah, it in relative to the conference is a good idea. Do you want to start or no? Tango should start.
All right. Okay, I was there kind of doing multiple hats as I normally do. So it was kind of depending on where I was and what I had planned for who I was kind of representing. So everything from, I guess, like True Markets was like prediction market. So that was like, I went to an event there before the conference started and did some stuff with Sonic, the network for Soneta, the true lending and borrowing platform I had. So it was kind of bouncing around for those things. And then we do a bit of stuff with like validators and NFT stuff. Not a whole lot with hieroglyphs. And then obviously, with the Hyperliquid side of things, which was very prominent, we had HL names, so Hyperliquid names. So yeah, just kind of there was what I was up to and kind of helping with a little bit of growth, BD, marketing, shenanigans. I don't know, all those sorts of things is kind of what I'm helping out with, and just trying to, shaking hands and kissing hands and shaking babies. Kissing hands and shaking babies. That's right. That's what we do.
What
There it is.
was like the most interesting event that you went to? Like, I guess, like, I don't know, like when you spoke to people and talked about like a certain subsector, like validators or prediction markets or like our Hyperliquid. What was your like most kind of like
ultimately, I mean, like
inspiring?
The Hyperliquid event, was definitely the most inspiring. Probably one of the better, if not best, events I've been to at a conference. Just like really well organized, very simple, beautiful venue, good people, just good vibes overall. Everybody was like really stoked on Hyperliquid, so that was really impressive to see. And then yeah, I think that would have to be the highlight, I would say, if I have to pick one. My mom always asks me about highlights. I'm like, God damn it, don't do this.
What's
to
number
me.
2?
Number 2, I mean, I spoke on a panel at the Sonic Summit, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, woo! So that was fun just to be, just like this, basically like this in front of everybody talking about shenanigans. So anyway, no, that was kind of fun. And then, yeah, I don't know if there's what other things were really it was cool to see the prediction market kind of. There was like a prediction market day called predict everything or predictify everything, something like this. So it was interesting to see like so many different prediction markets are the meta. Like, I don't know if you guys have been, that's like the new hot thing.
Hot ball of money.
It's the hot ball of money.
One of its locations.
One of the money is going in the hot ball.
It's one of its locations. It's one of the like narratives or metas.
Yes.
That's of the day.
Especially with like, poly market, just, securing a quick $2 billion. Anyhow, seeing like just, that's like the new hot meta. So like, sure, prediction or like perp dexes are bopping off and everybody's going crazy about those right now. And that's, everybody's chasing those. Prediction markets are like, it's like the new thing that's going to be cooking forward. So
I think I'm confused though. So
Yep.
maybe like, I'm sorry if I'm derailing the
all right,
intro, but I think they're curious conversations. Like, I feel like we've heard about prediction markets for a very long time. Like, poly market was like 2020. There were like earlier versions before. And I don't think it's that technically complicated to make such a vehicle. And I find it very strange that like, and why is there interest now? Maybe I'm just skeptical and I'm like, is it because regulation is changing so these could be more available? But is there any actual catalyst for this that I'm unaware of? Or like, why are they just pumping money into something that already existed 5 years ago?
So all this stuff existed 5 years ago. Even if you look back to like earlier versions of these things, like with Augur and whatnot, like they just weren't as dialed in for the like UI UX side of it and like to make the user experience great. Then with the advent of Polymarket, that seemed to like make things a lot better. But it wasn't really until the 2024 election where it like clearly showed that the prediction markets were showing that Orange Man was going to win. And all the polls said, it was going to be closer, it was going in Kamala's favor. And prediction markets overwhelmingly showed that like that was going to happen. And so since then, everybody was kind of like, oh, whoa, maybe there's something here. And maybe we're actually getting signal from money instead of just like, well, who's paying now? Because it's like if you look at, legacy media, it's like, well, who's paying for the answers, right? Who's paying for the narratives? So now if you're like, well, let's give this to the people, suddenly it's like, oh, well, this is where people put their money in. That's what we actually think is going to happen. So you get like a little bit more correlated truth. It's not always accurate. There are some issues and things around it in regards to, manipulation and, kind of certain outcomes. Like maybe you guys heard about is Zelensky wearing a suit? Did we hear about that? Yeah. So anyways, it's not aware. There was like Zelensky is kind of doesn't really wear a suit, but will wear something close to a suit, I guess. And so there was a scene, like one of the events he went to, they were like, oh yeah, he wore a suit, but that got contested because it was kind of a suit, not a suit, but then it turned into like token holder collusion for some people thought it was, and it just was a big old mess, and there was a bunch of people who got wrecked on that market. And for better or worse, it's just like how these resolution systems work. So when you have something that's kind of like objective, that becomes a bit of a problem. But anyways, that's a conversation for another day when I do a talk on prediction markets. So that will happen at some point. But those are the main things. Oh, plus crime is legal in the U.S., so that kind of helped, I think, a bit too. But yeah.
We have an audience question, actually.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. All right, Mike. Yeah, and just stay seated. That's why we have the mic in the audience.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah. Is it on? Okay, go ahead.
It was.
Yeah, let's go.
That's really good to point out and know about, like, because it does kind of feel like, because I think for a while we've been struggling for the last like couple years in crypto with like, it's the hot ball of money because there's no one there to actually buy stuff, or like, I mean, there's not that many buyers on the other side of the trade, and then we all get exhausted. We don't buy anything anymore. And we're always thinking about this kind of same subset of users. Like the problem of scaling in crypto to more people and getting people interested has been kind of like, it seemed like we hit a brick wall for a very long time. But it is nice to like hear about new entrants.
We have the people at home. Yeah.
Money and retail money. And retail money is we start a meme coin and there's 500 of us. We tell our friends that's 5,000. We each put $100 and okay, great. Institutional money, they move in billions of dollars at a time. And so it's quite a difference. And
I would be curious, like we also see, some big institutional money coming into like Hyperliquid, for example, or like the DATs, or like with other people in Wall Street who are starting to get involved. And like, I haven't personally looked at the numbers, but I'd be really interested if someone had an analysis on like, they could somewhat map out some of this new money and like institutions and where their interests are. Like, is it perps? Is it prediction markets? Is it validating or just like staking? Like, what is like the most interesting thing to the institution today? I'd be curious to find out.
I think to me, I'm just speculating because I don't actually have that raw data, which is like a great thing for researchers to be all on top of. But I would just say that they're just looking for any exposure to like blue chip stuff, not looking at like, oh, this niche thing in particular. It's just like, can I have access to holding Bitcoin or ETH or.
But prediction markets and Hyperliquid are arguably new, right? And it's like we might consider, like, I don't know if I would consider like Polymarket a blue chip.
No.
Like it works.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Sorry, I'm kind of misunderstood. But I was saying for like the DAT stuff, like the DAT side of things, like we're not seeing too much obscurity, right? On that side of it, like sure we see our own like Hyperliquid, hyper strategy and all these things within it, but those are all, I would say, very niche as far as like. Just because it's people who were connected the right way and are like, well, they see the bullish future. So
I'll chime in on the prediction market, and then maybe that's a good question. Like, what are institutions asking? And like my answer from Singapore was like stable coins and stable coin yield. But the prediction market thing, like institution isn't. I don't think institution is there yet. Like, if you look at the like the books on poly market, it's still like the spreads are really wide. No one's market making them. It's hard for market makers to market make them because it's like a new exotic thing. But the people who are using it is like retail plus like the sports betting type person, or like it's still degen adjacent people using it. Like Polymarket last 30-day volume is like 1.5 billion. If you were to have institutions on Polymarket, it's not going to be like that. But we did hear institutions are looking at Polymarket as like a source of truth. They're not trading per se, but they're looking at it like you said, it got all the states right in the U.S. election, whereas the polls got it wrong. Like they're looking at it as a source of truth. But I think capital-wise, it's still retail. And since 2020, like last election, I think maybe people were. That was before Wall Street bets. That was before this like degeneracy super cycle. And I think now like people are ready to. They're doing sports betting. They're doing zero DTE options, and perps and prediction market is like nice next step for retail. Maybe.
I think I'm sorry. I think I'm also thinking about not necessarily using the prediction markets, but more so like funding the creation of. But maybe you're right. That's venture, so that's like less likely. Like if you're like already just like a traditional institute, you know what I mean? Like you're probably not going to jump to a venture arm and venture. It kind of sounds like because of its mainstream awareness, people know about it at all levels. Like maybe there are venture capitalists who don't typically invest in crypto who now are as well. Sorry, what, you were going to say something?
Grab the mic. Grab the mic.
There's not enough in the markets yet for it to be that serious. I don't think it's so fragmented. And but I do think it's a new way that people can build lots of cool bonds. I don't know. It's like the long tail of every market ever made, but I do still think it's supposed to be extremely degenerate.
Prediction markets, right?
Yeah. And that
I
was like
think.
the big thing that I'd seen with throughout like all my conversations with people around prediction markets was like liquidity is like the biggest problem, the biggest challenge out there right now, and everyone's trying to figure out how to do it, how to actually even just shift some of the volume from Polymarket or Kalshi, right? And like Kalshi's starting to slowly make its way into like the actual crypto side of it.
I almost think of perps similar to like prediction markets too. Like tokens kind of work in similar way. It's just like how it's indexed.
Kind of.
Kinda.
The difference between like perps and prediction market is that one of them eventually like it resolves, right? So they diverge versus converge, I guess, in that sense. So it's like that's why it's a little bit harder for like market making and liquidity and whatnot. Just because like one of your if you're buying both sides of it, one of them goes to zero, and then there's like some depending on where you enter at, when you start your market making, it just becomes really really challenging. I actually spent like the last day that I was in Taiwan, we were like looking at some other interesting ways like with some crazy math in order to like create a liquidity provision system for like to market make with prediction markets, because that's like that is like the holy grail. Well, I don't know if it's a holy grail, but it's like a huge unlock if we can figure out like wild ways to just be able to like do an HLP style thing where you have a vault where you can just like literally deposit USDC into. That thing is cooking yield on it because that's one of the things that what's like notable with true markets is the fact that we have it like you have a urn vault.
That's what you're working on?
Yeah. So
I was talking about this today too, actually.
Deadly. Well, anyways, we have
like I was talking to someone about like tokenizing credit swaps and stuff.
Okay.
Do you think that's feasible?
Kind of a prediction market.
Yeah, it's like similar, sort of. But anyways, just sorry, what you were saying was
all
interesting.
good. Yeah, just like the stables are like parked into a urn vault, which is like growing yield, and then being able to like figure out some way to do it where that capital, which is then deposited into another like. Well, it's a vault within a vault, I guess, at that point. But then, just like the way that this gets, like, let's call it the strategies that are going on inside of that for the capital within there and how it gets kind of divided up. There was a bunch of like really, it's really complicated to begin with, but then to be able to like, we were going to do some real weird DeFi Ponzi stuff that was like going to get pretty twisted, but it would all be abstracted in the back end. So like people are literally depositing. And depending on volume and fees and everything, all that would flow through there. And you look at something like Hyperliquid where it's like, oh, we're continuously making 8, 9, 10% as like in a stable vault. Like that's pretty sick. So that might be something And I think a lot of people are trying to figure this out. But go ahead.
I'm really interested about the the challenges with being like a market maker or liquidity provider in these scenarios, because if I understand correctly, like if you're doing it for perps or something like that, or just trading in general, like you have an algorithm and you have like a strategy that all, you're taking one or both sides of the trade, and you can there's no end. So you're always kind of thinking about like how you can just perfect your strategy over time. And the better you get, the better you are at taking from other people trading against you. But like in this case, like you said, they end, but I'm just thinking it'd be so easy for someone to game the system if they were to make up something that was obviously going to happen, or they just knew the outcome. It's oh, is this person going to wear is Trump going to wear a green suit, and then Trump gets his friends to all buy yes.
Didn't you see the green dildo?
Yeah, the green.
Do you see the green dildo?
No, I don't know, but you just steal from the back end.
You're missing
HLP vault. It's literally just you just steal more and more and more money.
No, not really.
How do you fight against that?
If somebody has that that kind of information, the market starts at a really skewed price really quickly. It's kind of like the
people
green,
just know it's fake.
So it's okay, you remember there was green, there was the dildos being thrown onto the WNBA.
I think I saw that for a second. It scrolled past me, but I didn't register what was
basically
happening.
the point was now people are starting to make bets on this. Will a dildo hit the hit the floor?
What color will the dildo be?
What color will it be? So now you have people trying to smuggle in dildos into the game, and then they're just hucking them down there, and they'll take the $50,000 fine or whatever they were getting.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Liquidity for events like that, it incentivizes people to do the events. So it's a pretty crazy.
So how do you trade it? How do you market make that?
People are talking about
maybe you don't.
assassination.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you don't. You choose not to.
These are not the things that you're
though.
typically doing with prediction markets, right?
I mean,
it's who's going to be the next president of the United States?
Can I add something in? So I think in big part why it's a lot bigger now than 5 years ago is a lot more money is being gambled with. I mean, I think people forget that stake.com, they transact around, I think it's about 8% of the whole crypto market, because it's a full crypto casino. So they're a huge custody provider. I don't think people realize how much money from crypto is put into stake.com.
But I guess
it's all gambled away. So I think something that's become a lot more popular in the last 5 years since COVID is everybody's gambling. So everyone's sports betting. So
everyone's trying to retire the bloodline is what they're trying to do.
Good
it's
luck.
The only way
to
do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it wage
slaving. It seems like the only way.
Yeah, well, it is. You're not going to think about it here. You're living in Vancouver trying to make I'm going to go work minimum wage.
I know.
You guys should read this one blog by Travis Kling. He runs the Ikigai Fund. He talked about financial nihilism. So that was kind of his thesis
we're there.
2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So that was before the dog with hat thing took off and all that stuff. It was kind of pre that. So I think the way the markets have shaped up since then is a bit funny. And I mean, I think also it's a new phase of degeneracy as well. So it's just the similar sort of vibe.
Well, we got a question. And then
would you
tell?
With the stock market?
At the start, it's one guy who knows what's going on. When he bets somewhere, all the bookies across the country copy him. That's liquidity and market making in prediction markets.
Yeah, so you're just saying the whales are going to decide what happens. Potentially, yeah.
It's just a little bit now it's on chain. It's supposed to be open. You're supposed to.
That's the thing. So, hold on a sec. Now, some of these aren't on chain, for example, right?
Well, I was just going to say really quick. Sorry, stake.com or whatever. I think it's easy for some of us who are more crypto native, who have an on-chain lifestyle or whatever. How we just completely disregard 7% of the entire trading, because it's oh well, that's not on chain. That's just a casino, whatever. So we just disregard it, but it's there. The majority of crypto trading is in centralized venues that add to the antithesis of the core idea of the technology. Yeah. So are we doing it all again? Maybe.
Maybe. That's why we're trying to do it differently at True Markets. Maybe to our detriment, because it's it's all on chain and it's all verifiable and transparent. So this is where, in this case, instead of it just being the casino, somebody's paying and it's only a few people know in the background because friends tell friends, or it's I can see on our SQL database where this money is.
This is outside of this, right? It's you can follow the trail easier, right? But that behavior can still happen, and people can still obscure it in different ways by
Sure, but at least if it's transparent, you can see what's happening. It's these wallets are doing this, and they have a history of that.
But there's still so much. I'm so sorry. I hate to be a doomer, but there's so much fucking crime in crypto.
Whoa!
I'm not
but
saying
it's
that
legal, Steffi.
We're not. I think at the end of the day, though, we share is that we want to do good things with good people, and we we do our best, right? But there are a lot of people who don't. They just don't. And like
So,
that's
well,
true everywhere.
yeah,
In
and
addition, but I'm saying it's like unfortunately like there's always going to be like that social element of people and human. I don't want to say human nature, but like the way people behave at certain times or there's some good people, some not. But like I just feel like people use the tools and we're trying to make it better, but it's I don't know. I'm just feeling a bit like sad that it's difficult to even fix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we have
Sorry.
the tools.
No, it's all good.
We just
I-
over a long.
Fundamental problems. And I think what you're saying is that it's hard to be a market maker if assets keep going to zero and you don't have an algorithm that prices that. But I think if you look at what's always happened in the sports betting market, which I honestly don't know a lot about, but I've seen it in movies, so it makes me an expert.
Yeah.
I think the
Yep,
smaller
yep.
venues copy the larger venues. That's kind of a form of market making. Or the larger venues copy the more accurate venues.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like now with this side of it, you still have bookies back then, right? And that's like what a book like bookies the market maker, right? But there's like ways to make that work where they're just effectively taking on risk, whereas like market makers, the risk right now with them in yes no option, like basically yes no outcomes is. Yeah, they end up like usually you lose 30% if you were to just like go in and say, all right, when this thing comes in or when this market starts, we're going to provide, equal parts to both sides of this and do a range from, right from 50-50 to 0 and 50 to 100. And yeah, I think it works out to the math is because of how the outcomes work, but like you end up on average losing anywhere from 25 to 30%. And so right now when people are like, well, where's all this liquidity coming from? How come like everything is so thick and stacked and everything? It's like, well, that's what VCs are for. They're literally just taking money and throwing it into the book and it's just getting pissed away, getting arbed out effectively is the way to think about it. So
Yeah, so you
maybe, yeah.
I think we're all like not market makers trying to
Yeah,
pontificate
that's a
about
good
how
point.
market makers are going to provide liquidity on these things. I'm also not a market maker, but my thought is like the way it works is if there's flow, there's people going to trade, there's going to be liquidity provided. And some markets like Dildo and NBA, it's just meant to be a small market. And you're not going to, if you look at HLP, it doesn't market make long tail assets because it's hard to hedge those risks. But like for the big events like Trump being president, it's hard to like call your bookie and mess up that outcome, or it's hard to like be a whale and know the event before. And since the structure of those markets is fair, it enables big size to come in and bet yes or no, and big liquidity to come in and meet that flow. Like we saw that French whale in the Trump thing was able to get in big size, but that French whale is obviously not participating in any of these markets that he deems too risky. Same with market maker. If they know that there's like a chance insider
Great
can
point.
fuck them, they're not going to play. And that's just the law of supply and demand, I think. But it also relates maybe to like go to the next thing. Like I think we all did a lot of hyper liquid stuff, and big thing is like HIP3. So for those who don't know, like perps is like a way to bet on the future price of something without an expiry, like a leverage position, long short. And HIP3 it's a protocol on hyperliquid that allows people to deploy new markets for new kinds of any kind of asset you have a price feed for. So the ones that are excited being talked about is like S&P 500 with like 10x leverage with no expiry, which is some sort of instrument never before created. And like this HIP3 thing, it's like hella complicated, but one of the main conversation points was like how are teams going to get liquidity to market make their HIP3 markets? And the conclusion was that I reached from conversations in Token is that the first markets we're going to see, since it's so expensive, it costs like 500K hype, which is like 500K times 43 or whatever. Fuck ton of money to set this up. You're not going to do it for like, so in the Hyperliquid Hackathon, I built like OnlyFans and whatever perps using HIP3 testnet, like Lily Phillips, if anyone else is familiar.
Did you say a fan? Just about to say a fan there?
I'm just shit posting, but anyways, we built the front end for that, and we hooked it up to a price feed. It was a fun experiment, but the main HIP3 things that are going to be live is going to be like S&P, Bitcoin perps with alternative quote assets, like ETH, Sol, major perps with alternative quote asset, and like it's because market makers, it's going to be so hard to get liquidity, and you need to make a market that is interesting for like a market maker to come in and integrate into. Kind of dovetail off of that prediction market.
That's good.
piece.
That's
No, that
good.
was
But,
excellent.
Owen knows most about
Yeah. Why are we the ones telling all this
Yay,
shit?
Owen.
Yeah,
Yeah, the other thing is that like it's all based on news, right? So it's really hard to like you kind of have to automate news, right? You find out, oh, okay, Zelensky was wearing a suit. Okay, we got to buy. Whereas if you're uninformed and you don't know about this and you see this like huge upwards price movement, you probably want to sell against that because you would think, oh, it's just some whale that's like buying. They're probably wrong, and like we can bring the price back down. But if it was like a news event, then you're fucked because it actually is going to go up. So a lot of those things are really hard to automate and like do it consistently. Like maybe you can use some some AI. You can ask Grok, plug in Grok, and Grok sees, oh, okay, this news looks legit. Let's buy. But it's just very difficult compared to other markets.
So you'd
Yeah,
have
and
to do like a strategy on like, I want to say like a randomized strategy in some way over like a long series of events, because it's like you know that you can't with like very good accuracy know if you're going to be right in the situation. So like there might be a certain, or not random, but like you like I'm
Yeah,
just
or
saying it might be
like
difficult to like, it'd have to be over multiple events, not just one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've
I
kind
don't
of
know how to
been
describe
trying
that.
to think about how you do that. I mean, the other thing is you can just like try and quote really wide, especially during like low volatility times. Then you can quote a little bit tighter, and then if like a high vol event comes in, then you just hands off the wheel and like hope that you're around 50-50 at that point. Yeah.
We'll
it's,
talk more after about some like, because I think it's there's something to do with like the mechanism and how the markets can actually be how the mechanic in order to provide the liquidity to the market, and that's what we'll get into, because I think that structure is like what needs to happen to help. And
yeah,
we'll
the
talk
other
about
thing
it
is like you really gotta make it up in fees, right? So
yeah, fees and incentives will help for now. That can also be an advantage. And then I remember you saying leverage before. And
leverage is helpful.
yeah,
for
and so
some
there's
things, yeah.
maybe some ways that we can. We'll talk about that after.
Okay.
We'll sidebar that, because I don't really know enough right now to share with that all that. And
Pontificate, you
Yes.
said.
pontificate, nice,
so-
nice,
Pontificate? That's a good word.
great word.
Only to get us off the prediction market topic.
Yeah, it's been half.
It's
an
been
hour.
half
Let's
an
go.
hour talking about prediction markets. Prediction markets were the thing at Token. Like it's a hot topic, right? So it's like worth talking about. But here we are. Hyperliquid was also hot at Token. I think just one thing to add is that on the question of like why is something like Polymarket so popular? Well, really, and it just makes it like a shit ton of money. It's like one of the only ever like massively profitable crypto applications. So that's like a reason why it's attracting so much attention and investment as well. We could continue on the original storyline and how Ethan go from where Tango was 30 minutes ago, and I think that would be great. But good conversation. We should retitle the stream after, but. And yeah, no, I love it. I hope you guys like. I was like getting deep into prediction markets. It's sweet. No, it's actually cool. I learned a lot just now. But yeah, Ethan, maybe you could like talk about your like who you are relative to Token2049, what you were doing there, and then what was your mission, and then what was your what was the best event, or what was like the best experience, or tell us something cool.
So I'm building in DeFi, and the main mission was to we have a product that's deployed on Ethereum. We're deploying on another chain called Plasma. It's a fixed rate borrowing protocol, so it's good for stablecoin looping, like some sort of DeFi yield strategy thing. And what I'm doing is like talking to liquidity providers, so like people who allocate money in DeFi, users who like use DeFi, different investors, and we're in Asia, so like Asian people. And that was who I was talking to. No, like because it's a different kind of vibe, I think.
It's true, yeah. It's a very unique market. Yeah.
Unique market. So,
I would like to talk about Plasma.
okay, Plasma. So,
Tell me the bull case for Plasma.
okay,
Yeah, with all the chains out there, why Plasma?
and maybe I'll zoom out and talk stablecoin
Good.
and then Plasma. So the interesting learning from the token was like, um, people think of crypto and they think volatile asset, but more and more, like we talked about institutions. What are institutions here for? It's like we hear stable coins, and there's two use cases. I think it's like payments, which is like Stripe, all these like chains that are basically going to use blockchain as a way to do dollar transfers cheaper. That's like the stablecoin payment use case. But then there's this really interesting like stablecoin yield use case, and you, like what's the risk-free rate for dollars in the bank? It's like what, 4 or 5%, and what's the risk-free yield for dollars on chain? It depends what you call risk-free, but you can be getting double-digit APYs with no like directional exposure to the market on chain right now. And one of the big narratives is like off-chain money coming in, being shoved on chain to like close that arb between like 4 and 20, and those on-chain yields come from fees, lending, also like token Ponzi, also like points or whatever. But that's money. Like you can be a stable provider. What are these funds doing? They're like lending, they're providing liquidity in AMMs or order books. They're doing like private TV. They're doing looping. So like if you loop a yield-bearing stablecoin with a non-yield-bearing dollar, you can lever up the exposure to that collateral's yield. And if the interest you pay is less than the yield, you make positive carry. But essentially, these looping strategies are like printing like 60+% real yield, like on the high ends, right? You get a 6% yielding collateral, and you leverage it up 10 times, or maybe 11 times. It's a lot of money. So that's mainly what people are doing, and private TVL deals. So anyway, there's a lot of yield to be made. So Plasma is a stablecoin chain. It launched at like an 8 million valuation. It's like supposed to be the Tether chain. So their whole story is we want to compete with Tron. Tron is currently like the highest product market fit chain for stablecoin payments is Tron. People don't do payments on Ethereum or whatever base or whatever blockchain is being shoved down your throat. It's like this secret blockchain called Tron by this guy called Justin Sun, and like 50% of the USDT circulating supply is on this chain. And like hella people are using it. Fees are going up.
Maybe it's worth talking about why people use Tron.
Ah, okay.
Right, and who is using Tron? Does anybody here ever use the Tron blockchain? Okay,
Oh,
we got a few
wow,
hands.
nice.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if I've touched it ever, to be honest. But anyways, that's fine. Then that's good.
That was
That's good
like
because-
50% almost. That was a lot of people.
No, there was like 4 hands.
I saw like
Ethan,
7.
Ethan, keep
Oh.
going.
Anyway, it doesn't
no,
matter,
No,
but
Ethan,
the
I want you to
point being-
continue.
Yeah. So the point being,
I feel like Ethan.
keep going. Yeah.
Good interruption.
Talk
So
about.
stablecoins, payments. It's like if you're in so euro dollar. What is euro dollar? It's a dollar that's not issued by U.S. Stablecoin is like a euro dollar. It's like a coin that backed by like a T-bill or like a short-term duration bond. And people in countries where local currency is like inflationary like to use stablecoins. Or places where like Afghanistan, where like banking is tough to get, you use stablecoins. And drugs and other stuff like that are not that legal too.
But Ethan, I guess I'm sorry. I'm just really what I don't understand. It's like, why does it need to be on that blockchain? Like stablecoins already exist. Many of them exist with many different backing methods and different risk tolerance. There's lots of different different strategies around, and I feel that like we have the technology to facilitate these things already, and why is it in like? And I think that people can put like I think the best argument I heard for Plasma was like, well, no, but nobody's done something where it's like specifically for stablecoins and specifically for retail and new people who aren't already in crypto. So like, look, it feels more like a neobank. It's neobank's the new trend, amazing, whatever. But then it's like, yeah, but I could just take a front end and wrap it around any stablecoin solution that already exists on any chain, and like that's fast enough or cheap enough or whatever, and like maybe subsidized by users in different ways. Like I don't think that there's a moat there for actually providing this solution to people the way that you've described, because people can use Tron and people can use their wallet, so you could do that with anything. So I just have a really hard time understanding other than just like the next hot ball of money and like insiders dumping on retail with their tokens. Sorry.
That's valid. I'll I'll tell you what they would say, and then I'll tell you the bull case and bear case.
Okay,
So
thank you.
the bull case is like it's not the only bet on the stablecoin chain thing. Like how much stablecoins are in circulation is like, what is it? Like a few hundred million, but like there's a lot of trillions of dollars out there. So there's like 178 billion of Tether, but I think there's more latent demand for stablecoins than that. So there's an opportunity there. So we can build these stablecoin chains to target it, like Tempo, Stable, Plasma, whatever. And it's basically like the bet is, one, we're going to build a chain that's really good for stablecoins tech-wise. So it's like gas-free USDT transfers, the Bitcoin secured chain, meaning like Bitcoin is the most secured, pristine asset.
How is it actually? Is it like a something like eigenlayer equivalent
Yeah, it's like a
Bitcoin thing? So not
Cosmos-
really, like kind of secured by Bitcoin.
Cosmos EVM Bitcoin secured thing.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, but so that's like the bull case. Like that's why we need this thing to exist. It's like but then now I'm gonna take like my plasma shill hat off, and it's like, if you really want to see success on these chains, Justin Sun spent a lot of time to get USDT on Tron. He's not gonna give that market share away. Switching cost is high, so it's up to these teams to go and get new sources of stablecoins to be minted and transacted that are not previously using stablecoins. So Tempo, for example, has Stripe. Stripe brings in their payment volume to on-chain. Like even if you keep like KYC, keep like the off-chain ramps, whatever, but you just do the accounting on-chain, that's like trillions. If you if Plasma goes to, let's say, Africa or whatever, where there's not much Tron users hypothetically, then maybe they can get some. Like from what I've heard, is like Plasma team is like really like on the ground trying to like shill these countries to shill these emerging markets to use their neobank solution. And like meanwhile they're dumping on retail, and they're trying to get net new users.
No, I understand.
It
It's
can
like
also
it
be a
doesn't
problem.
really matter what's behind it if you wrap it in a shiny way that like people don't even know what chain they're on. Like they have the best distribution. Okay, I understand. I guess I don't know if I. Yeah.
Bet, and to get the start of their chain, like many billion, 12 billion, 10 billion money on the chain, they needed to play the crypto native like FOMO, deposit vault cap. They had to play that whole game just to get the start. They've done it really well, and now it's down only if they can't get like if they don't come up with new users.
And the new user part is the hardest. And people have tried, and it's just like a different way of packaging this mission, really, if you really think about it.
But I would be down for a on beta or like a on competitor, on killer. It's sexy. That's why. That's the thesis, and that's the stablecoin vibe from Token.
So how is it to be a builder on there? Like, why is that? How were you attracted, actually? Maybe
So
you
we
can
wanted
answer that
the
question.
incentives. We wanted
There
the
we go. Okay. So how much are they paying teams to deploy on there?
Depends on the team. They're doing it really well. So if you like this whole DeFi tokenomics whatever game, like it's a masterclass. Like they took a really opinionated approach in how they give incentives. So what do I mean by incentive is like team has like stock, like token stock, and it's like has value, and they give it to builders to like incentivize users.
Wait, the team individually? So some team could be like, hey, I felt like everyone's going on their own little mission and finding people and then like taking a cut. Like it's like they're like getting a sales deal sort of on it.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not
fully-
just like, oh, it's like 1% for each team. It's
no.
okay.
Like,
And it's
fully, like,
transparently this?
all in check the governance. For example,
Okay.
Aave gets like huge amount of percent. Aave says no, you can't deploy any other lending markets, or else we're not going to come. And
Okay.
anyways, there's these deals, but yeah, we went there to get.
Is that the only reason?
And the main, look at that, the real reason well is like they're having a lot of another emergence for stablecoins is like the source of like sourcing lenders from the world. Because like how do you do like a loan agreement right now? Different kinds of ways, but if you believe like all the money economies are coming on chain, stablecoins are going to be like biggest source of dollar capital. You want to be able to tap into that liquidity for like as like a lender liquidity. So USDAI and these kind of RWA private credit plays are like tapping into, instead of like having to go to a bank and get a loan, or having to go to like a private rich guy and get a loan, or having to go to OpenAI, and you can go to blockchain and source USDC liquidity as a loan, use that and go rent GPUs, or go use it to finance GPUs.
Under collateralized loans?
Over collateralized.
Okay.
This is over collateralized private credit for GPUs. It's called USDAI, and that's like a cool new yield source. Like if they build it properly and it doesn't up, that's like a yield source that's different than the current yields we have, which is we have lending, swapping, all bull market correlated. But maybe GPUs, everyone needs GPUs because AI is the future. So it's a great differentiated source of yield. There's like solar panel lending coming on chain called Daylight. Like there's a lot of these private credits things that it's going to be on Plasma, and for our protocol, it's great for like fixed rate dollar leverage loop. So you can take this USDAI, borrow our protocol stablecoin against it at a fixed rate, and use that loan to buy more collateral and loop these things like 8, 10+% at a fixed rate, which is like, if you're like a DeFi looper guy, you like fixed rate because there's no chance the interest goes higher than the yield of the collateral. So you want it to be positioned on the chain in case there's like an explosion of these new stablecoins. But we also built a way to like retreat back to Ethereum if it, like, if it fucks up. Like,
Thank you, Ethan. I feel
Owen
thoroughly.
Owen's burning to ask a question if he may.
Why do you want to borrow stables against your stables under collateralized?
over collateralized.
Over collateralized. Sorry. Yes.
So let's say you have $1 million and you want to like get hella yield on it. You buy SUSDE, which is
Okay.
like a dollar denominated asset. It's Athena's tokenized basis trade. That yields, let's say, 7%.
Okay.
So I have 1 million yielding 7%. I put it into a borrowing protocol. I borrow dollars against it. Let's say 90% LTV. I borrow 900K worth of
Yeah.
Ibisu dollars against that.
Yeah. Sure.
I used the Ibisu dollar to buy more SUSDE, so 900K. So now I have 1,900K worth of SUSD. That whole position is yielding 7%. And then I borrow again, EBUSD. Let's say I borrow at like a 4% fixed rate, which is like what our current borrow rate, or like 5% fixed rate. So that's our current borrow rate with SUSD. So I'm profiting 2%. I pay.
Doesn't that end up leveling out though when there's enough supply? Like how are you? So yes, you have some USD AI that you said is 7%, right, or something. So I'm lending that. Yeah, and then I'm borrowing 900 Ibisu
USD
off of that
at 4%, let's say.
at 4%. So why is it 7 and 4? Where is that 7 of the USD AI coming from? And the like 4% might increase, right? If you're not getting yield on.
Yeah. So a good, like in a normal money market, that 4% can increase. And like we typically see convergence between collateral yield and lending yield, but if you lock in a fixed rate for like a period of time with some caveats, a lot of asterisks, but
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time, you can farm kind of like fixed rate setup. And I think that's what TradFi is coming in to do. It's coming in to like arb all these inefficiencies in crypto because there's yielding stablecoins yielding
Yeah.
10+%. But the
So-
ball rate on Aave is like 5.
So when those institutions do come and arb that out, like isn't that gonna equal out and then there's no room?
That's the that'll be a great thing that like I think that will be a great thing to happen because that's more money coming on chain. But I think there's always these. You can
Like in a perfectly efficient market, I would think
Yeah.
that why would you want to borrow stables against stables?
it
in
just
an
hasn't been perfectly
over-collateralized way?
efficient, and these are the plays that are yielding like double-digit, mid-figs, double-digit APY on huge size because it's just there's always someone willing to lend for like a low risk yield, and there's always a degen willing to like take the other side in the sense they're posting like SUS, they're posting some exotic collateral. It yields
Yeah.
more than the lending rate. They're levering it up. They're taking collateral exposure. So if that stablecoin fucks up,
Yeah.
their position is done. But they're they're borrowing cheap from someone who's willing to take less for less risky,
So-
and then levering it up on a more
So
risky
really,
side.
like, if you really kind of like wash away the assets, like you're just chasing people offering you, not you, but like in general, this game, which we all do for like any kind of like yield farming, any protocol, but like you're just the fact this exists and it continue to exist because people are continue to make new things and have better deals or not or whatever. And I'm sorry, I'm not very good. I'm not very financial. Like I'm new to this kind of stuff, the finance side of things, but I'm just wondering like how I can understand what Owen is saying is that eventually the market becomes efficient and that doesn't exist anymore. But what is the limit, the ceiling, right?
I have a better
because
answer.
like
I have a better answer. I was
if we
rambling
keep-
before, but I have a better answer. So it depends on the nature of the yield. Athena basis yield is uncorrelated with interest rates. So Athena basis yield is actually negatively correlated with base. It depends on the type of yield. So Athena is this thing. It does a delta neutral strategy by like holding Bitcoin, shorting Bitcoin. They profit this thing called funding. So if rates go down, okay. Anyways, you get my point though. So
please
let's say so there's lending rate, which is based on how many people want to borrow and how many people want to lend. That's lending rate. But there's these other forms of yield that are being coming on chain. So tokenized basis trade, tokenized private credit, even just tokenized T-bill. And if there's ever a mismatch between on-chain lending rate and any form of like, let's say, pick your favorite yield that's not lending, then you can create these carry trade as an ARB. But yeah, and it's hard to there's always this because risk management in crypto, like on-chain systems are really bad at like granularly paying counterparties for risk. Like if you go to like a prime broker in TradFi, you're gonna like get a, they're gonna tell you what the risk level is of this asset, and they're gonna quote you like a fair rate. But in crypto, the lending systems are hella janky. It doesn't pay. Most of them don't pay you granularly for the risk that you take. So there's these ARBs available. I don't know if that's a better answer, but it depends on the type of yield.
I think like those opportunities will always be available. Like even in traditional financial markets, there's still like hella inefficiencies that people like make a lot of money exploiting, and like that's always going to exist on chain too, because of like you're pushing like these innovative new financial products that aren't possible elsewhere, and like so there's always going to be something that's not perfectly efficient. So there's always going to be room for capital to come in and like try to take advantage of those things.
And I think also in crypto, like people offering carrots everywhere.
A lot of carrots,
right? Like, oh, come to my chain, like here's my incentives, or like, and that's like, cause you can just spin money out of thin air, kind of. I mean, it's not that simple, but I think maybe it represents kind of like the fact that we're at like the cusp of like technology and innovation, because people are all like the desire to keep making new interesting things.
The carrots, ideally, they're not just like bullshit. Like these are like ideally like they're like ownership in like other protocols that you're typically getting, which like may or may not be valuable, but like that's the additional thing that's getting added on top.
I guess I don't want to go into it, but like I think a lot of us are disillusioned with like, you know, there's a lot of experiments going on, but also a lot of people just making garbage and masquerading it for other things, and like it's just everywhere, you know, and it's just like, maybe it won't go. I'm sorry, my back of my doomer. I'll stop.
So yeah, okay. So plasma.
Stablecoins generally.
Stablecoins, yes. Stablecoins are really bullish. That's what like everyone and like TradFi is excited about in crypto. Plasma's yield bank.
That's the neobank.
Oh, neobank.
That you're familiar with.
So there's like stablecoin yield. You can have your money in stablecoins earn like good yield. You can pay it through your phone on Apple Pay, like card. And then I wonder how they get the yield. There's these things called yield aggregators that people can use, and I think it's helping abstract all this like finance yield stuff, or to make people's lives better. Because instead of earning whatever 2% in RBC, you can earn 6% on like a relatively safe strategy. So.
Can we go Superform versus Plasma? Why is Superform the best neobank? Or a super.
Okay, so they're fundamentally different. Plasma's a chain. No. I'm just like breaking down like at a high level, and then Superform is like a DeFi, multi-chain DeFi protocol that is on many chains, one of which could be Plasma. So you get a Superform on Plasma. So when you talk about neobank, that's just it's a financial application that is not technically like a regulated bank as you know today, like a TD, but it offers banking functions. Wealthsimple is a neobank, if you're familiar, for example. More like digital, accessible banking services. And then now it's cool to be a neobank in crypto, where you take that concept of having all these like banking options easy, like in this like more user-friendly, digital, fully online experience, but now it's on crypto rails too. So what that means fundamentally is like you can do all the things you can do in banking on chain, and then also connect that on chain to the real world. So you can hold your assets, you can earn interest on your assets, you can send your assets to other people, you can borrow and lend, you can then take this money and spend it in the real world. So I can have like one of these like on-chain like yield-bearing stable coins earning 10%, and I can actually hold all my wealth in that instead of in my checking account or maybe my high interest savings account at maybe like 3-4%. So earning 10%, I can tap a card on my phone and spend this in the real world. So Superform and Plasma, and you get cash back. Yeah, okay. Where does the yield come from?
Generally Ponzi tokens is what I'm seeing. Yeah,
but I guess in some
still
ways
it's something.
What's nice about the neobank idea, or whatever flavor it is the notion that parts of that can be abstracted for like the actual user. They don't have to go in and like find the yield. It's like
exactly, and this is like the next evolution of DeFi that is actually going to reach the like 1 billion people, because the average a person, like we're talking about these like crazy looping strategies that these like big institutions want to come in and do. Like the average person is no time for that, and yeah, they don't have the knowledge, the capacity, the tools, whatever resources. And crypto is generally pretty complicated too. So you take, but what it is, it's like faster, it's cheaper, and for now at least, the returns are higher. The risk-free rate, if you will, is higher. So you package all that into this like user-friendly experience where I can go from my bank or a centralized exchange directly into like these like high-yielding instruments, or just Ether, Bitcoin, or whatever crypto I want to hold, and then you can go and pay for a coffee with it, and that's the whole flow. And then when it comes to like what is that yield bearing instrument, it's not like I have to pick from like a million different crypto apps or different blockchains and which ones are the best yield and which ones are going to be safe and which ones are going to rug me. Instead, you just there's like a few options, or maybe there's an advanced mode where I can get more granular. But for the average person, I just want to go into some like 8%, 10% savings account. Good, done. Like one tap on my phone and I'm in, right? And these things are also like user friendly in the sense that like a crypto app, I have to have like my seed phrase. I have to carry my ledger around, remember my password, and what I really want, or what the average person really wants, maybe not us in this basement, but I want like a Web 2 experience where like I sign in with I create a new account with like Google. Here's my Google login I use for all my other websites, and then I have my fingerprint or like my Face ID to secure my account, and then it's like, okay, so like what's the flow? I have my phone, I have an app on my phone. I create an account with Google. I secure my account with my face. I go from my bank account into yield-bearing crypto asset, tailor-made for me, super safe, secure, and high-yielding, and then I spend it on my coffee. And this is like happens like it's like 3 taps kind of thing. Which if you've used crypto, it's just not typically like that. Anyway, that's like the neobank experience. Where Superform and Plasma are different. Go back to Plasma's a blockchain, so they're gonna maybe have a bunch of applications you can use on top of Plasma. Specifically, that's the ecosystem that you're using. You're tapping into anything on top of Plasma, and the Superform is again, I said multiple chains. So it's a protocol that handles the transfer of essentially it's you can do anything within DeFi with the Superform protocol. The word I'm looking for is arbitrary. So you can do you can perform any arbitrary action across chains. The typical use case would be like a cross-chain deposit. So I could go from I have money on Base, and I can deposit into some product, yield-bearing product on Plasma, and I can do this in one transaction or one tap of my fingerprint right on my phone. And then also I can access advanced strategies that invest across multiple chains. So maybe today Plasma's rates are really high. Tomorrow Circle's ARC chain, the USDC rates are higher than USDT rates on Plasma. And I have a automated strategy for me that's automatically rebalancing my funds between different products on different chains to earn me superior rates that you couldn't maybe get directly on Plasma.
So in some ways, it's like the user of Superform is likely someone with a little bit more advanced understanding and knowledge of crypto who want to have help with some of like the actual, jumping and abstractions.
I wouldn't say necessarily, because
you're still thinking about the difference between base chain
and you're not though. See, that's the thing. All of that is abstracted. An advanced user could take advantage of that if they wanted to, but a basic user they won't know. They don't have to know what chain they're using, and they're just accessing one single USD denominated product that will always invest into the best yield on any chain, not just one chain. Mm-hmm. But they don't know what those chains are. They don't care what those chains are. It's like I have dollars, and I put dollars into Superform, and I'm earning yield, and now I spend that in the real world, and that's all I need to know.
Maybe just to give that an example, so like that's like the Super USDC. Is that that product?
This would be the Super USD, which is one level higher in the stack that would then allocate into different stablecoin based products across different chains.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I think the difference is that one sec. I think the difference is that like you still have more granularity with Superform if you wanted
If you
to,
want it,
which is
yes.
interesting, where it's
Yeah.
not like just like the dumbed down version,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what is the Twitter?
Superform XYZ.
And what, just in the context of stablecoins, what dashboards are you guys like using mostly these days? Like Dune or what do you usually
Whatever
like using
suits
for
the
reference?
research use case.
Depends what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking generally.
I
I don't know.
like
just for the people.
DeFi Llama is my
Dune
favorite
Dune.
one.
Yeah, DeFi Llama,
Stable Watch
Dune.
is good for stable coins. Stablewatch.io.
Nice. Cool.
DeFi Llama is the best. In general.
Yeah, DeFi Llama
Yeah.
is goated. Llama.
And so, how long have you been building on? Sorry, it's Pulse.
Plasma.
Pulse. Whoa,
The chain-
easy,
Oh, yeah.
easy now.
The chain.
It just
I
launched,
just
right?
had that in my head.
Yeah, it just launched. We were deploying on the
Okay.
14th, but incentives are really hot. Like they have a lot of money, so they're like, they're giving yields.
That's how they're
that are-
different than Superform. They got like
Yeah.
infinite money.
Yeah. How did they raise so much money too?
Peter.
Peter Thiel backed them, and then
Oh, okay.
it's like this whole Tron killing narrative.
Yeah.
It was a perfect execution of like the crypto VC dating
yeah,
game.
yeah. Really
It
good
is a-
marketing.
Okay. I've heard of it. I just don't know that much about it. It's
$12
obviously
billion
pretty new.
in like a few weeks come to their chain from Ethereum. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I
What
saw.
else catalyzed that? Do you think?
Hype around the token.
The connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's
do
like-
think Peter
and-
Thiel has kind of like definitely been catalyzing some interesting things.
He does do that, but
Yeah.
There-
Anyways,
I want to ask Steffi your most optimistic and pessimistic takeaway from token, like
Oh.
Oh
most
boy.
bullish and most bearish.
Can you
thing.
start with the pessimistic one and then
Oh,
do the
gosh.
optimistic one after?
I don't know. I think well, I guess I can kind of touch a little bit on my pessimistic stuff. You kind of saw me heading in those directions before. Like, I guess like just a little background. Like, I have been a researcher in crypto since 2019. I started off as a technical writer. I understand how, like, I used to write about how, like, you know, all the networks work, like the validators, the networking, like all that shit. And I used to write about that, like, before I even knew about crypto, like, just like for private companies describing their private blockchains. And then I understood what a public blockchain could do and open up, like, finance and computing. And I was like, holy shit. So then that was like 2020, 2019. And so since then, I've learned a lot about finance and, like, how the world works, to be honest. But I had no background before that, like, whatsoever. Like, I like didn't understand anything. I didn't even know where, that sounds stupid. I didn't know that the healthcare, the free health, like, Canada has free healthcare. Like, I didn't realize it came from taxes. Like, until like 2 years, and I know this sounds stupid, but like, that's my history. And so I've kind of come a little bit, like, I became very excited about finances and like about like getting control of my financial future and like being a sovereign individual and like, you know, doing all this on-chain stuff and growing and learning all this and like being financially free. But then I also just started to learn about kind of some of the background, I guess just like parts of human nature in which people do bad things to other people just to like extract and take money. And I think there's a lot of things and a lot of people in the space that are not well intentioned, and their sole mission is to masquerade interesting tech as like nothing, like, you know, just slap that narrative on their token and like just cash out and like rug people. And I think, like, I don't know what percentage of crypto it is, but 95, 90. But then I also realize that people are sometimes often useful idiots and don't know that they're contributing to something in which its intention of its creators was to do this. And so this is very upsetting to me. And I don't think that it's crypto's fault. It's a permissionless system. And I think that people will take advantage of whatever system exists. A friend of mine told me recently to read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. It's like, you asked, are we doing this all over again? It's like the 1920 story of like the market before it was regulated. And it's the same shit, like the same Ponzi's in this. But this is just, I've kind of hit this like level at which it feels like almost everything is a scam. And it's very hard for me. I was nerd sniped so many times by interesting technical ideas without any foundational economics. And so I find that to be the saddest thing. And I don't, like, when I went to Token2049 this time, I'm like, I don't want to go to any of the events. Like, I'm not motivated to go meet people who are just trying to like scam people, is kind of how I feel. So that's, I think, my biggest bearish take. And I'm sorry if I'm really jaded, because I know there is goodness in all of this somewhere, but I just keep seeing that. I've learned how to short recently. After all of these fucking years of all of these guys telling me to use Hyperliquid and long and short, I was too scared. I didn't get it. But now I'm like, oh, this shit launched 0. And it's like, and it's been fun.
Shorting crime is also, shorting crime is risky.
Shorting crime is very risky in a bull market, Steffi.
I'm just like doing my expression. I'm expressing myself and I'm learning, like I'm not, whatever. So that's that. But then what's positive? Well, I had a really good time with all of my friends and people I care about who I believe are doing good things. And like a lot of us are congregated on Hyperliquid. And I think that Hyperliquid was created by a person who, at least to our public knowledge, is a really good person who wants to build good things. And I think that there's something very sticky and something very valuable to somebody who's trying to build something meaningful, like for actually good reasons. Like, I think everyone probably knows the like Hyperliquid origin story. Like the team already had money. They had made money like HFT trading and trading in crypto. They kind of knew all the good and the bad. And they were just like, let's just make something better. Let's make the best venue. People love to speculate. People love to trade. Like, let's make this venue that's just awesome and like not build things into the system that would like unfairly enrich ourselves. And let's try to make a system in which other people can participate in various ways and like we can all like grow together. And I think that it's a little idealistic to like, assume that like anything is perfect, right? Like no one's perfect. They're humans at the end of the day. But I do think that they're building a system that I've seen so far, like after Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's like the most well-intentioned version of us transacting and building together and creating new financial and cultural systems. And so, okay, tying it all off. While there were some people and some missions people building in the Hyperliquid space that were questionable and like, they're there just like they're everywhere because that just happens. You can't stop it. It's permissionlessness. I did meet a lot of what I believe to be very well-intentioned people who are just trying to build things who are intelligent and kind-hearted and yeah. So that felt really good, and I feel more confident about like devoting a lot of my time recently to looking into this space because it hits all the boxes for me in terms of like interesting technical design, interesting financial design, and decent people. So
Hyperliquid.
Nice. That was very
go, Steffi.
good. Yeah, beautiful. That's great. So after meeting all those great, well-intentioned people and traveling the world with your well-intentioned friends, you still think 90% of all crypto projects are scams? Okay.
Because I've been watching this space now for how many years? I've been interviewing founders and interviewing teams and meeting with teams and working with teams for like so much of my adult life now, my career. When I look back on it, I think about like, what were the carrots and what was the motivation and how are these systems set up and how are they designed to attract people and for what reasons? I think there's very few people who, and I think there's a lot of people that are good people that don't know they're participating in scams or in, I think there's a lot of people like that too. Okay. But so I'm not trying to say evil.
I think that's most people in general.
Probably, yeah. And I'm also waking up as a person,
saying earlier, it's like
understanding how
not
the world
just a
works.
crypto problem, right?
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
But it's rampant in crypto as anywhere
Learned about
else.
game theory at all?
Yes, I'm familiar. But I'm not like the best at all the different things. But like, I know crypto is a permissionless system and the same things that can happen in crypto can happen elsewhere. But I guess I just was saddened
I think
that
the most important is the chaos theory, not the game theory.
the KOL theory?
Chaos.
Chaos.
Chaos theory.
chaos
I was like, KOL. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like,
He's not wrong,
That's true. It's not wrong there.
Chaos theory. I'll look it up. I think I've heard of it, but I don't know the whole.
Look up the Rees-Mogg.
Okay.
Rees-Mogg, the writer.
All right. I'll look it up after. Thank you.
All right, now Christian, I think you got to go. You got to tell us your things. You haven't shared your bullish, bearish, and your favorite things, and your.
Oh yeah, I was just
the question that we started with.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we can wrap it up with me. Stuff got into it there. Okay, we're at an hour and 10 minutes, so won't be too long. I did just talk about neobanks for a while, but okay, I was at Token to shill the thing I was just talking to you about, basically. So Superform had a booth at the main conference. I think it's the first time we've done that. It was pretty sweet. It was like a nice high visibility, like high traffic zone. I talked to people for like hours, 5 hours straight, just like back-to-back conversations. Got to like to hear about like what people are interested in. The neobank meta is really hot. I know because I literally had people coming up to me to talk to me about it for like literally 5 hours straight, like back-to-back conversations at this event. And what really excites people is like the ability to take their crypto and spend it in the real world in this like an easy UX like mobile app package. Like so many people are stoked, and mainly about like the ability to like on ramp and off ramp between crypto and fiat, and to like spend your crypto, like the concept of the card. Like for some reason they're like loving that so much. And like yeah, people had so many questions about like people from around the world, from Brazil, from Serbia, from Dubai, from Europe, from Asia. Hey, like, are you gonna support XYZ country? What are the KYC like? What are the fees like? Like, what do you do if you're going to like my bank is like freezing my assets? Like, what can you do to protect me or something? So anyways, a lot of questions around that. So people find this like use case really interesting. I can say that, and that's why a lot of companies are like kind of going this direction. It makes sense. So I was there just to do that. Also there with Hyperliquid Names. So that is the name service on Hyperliquid that we are building. Me, Tangle, and some others. And going to some Hyperliquid events, getting to like meet other people that like we're trying to like collaborate with within the space. Mainly just hanging out with our friends was like, I think like the real secret reason we were there. It was pretty sweet actually. We had like 15, 16 people from Vancouver like representing ETHVAN at Singapore. Probably the biggest cast we've had at one of these conferences. So pretty solid. So just putting Vancouver on the map, letting people know we're here. Showing decontrol to people like this space. Hey, if you're ever in Vancouver, like come by.
Yeah.
We brought this giant cat.
Yeah, just back
I
to
didn't
this.
even notice this.
Yeah,
so
so
just
back to the story here about this, just for the people that listening at home. And actually, I'm going to do this really quick here. I'm going to try and do it. All right, let me know here, Owen, if I'm where I'm. Oh, I can just touch this, I think, and then. All right. Do we see Hyper? Yeah. All right.
Yes, there he
So there's Hyper. So we did the. Is that good there? Right there. Perfect. So we did Operation Hyper Rescue, is what we're coining it. So yeah. Basically, we went to the HyperCo event, which was Thursday, Friday event.
afternoon. Amazing spread, like insane buffet.
Yeah, they did great there. They did great, and they had like a lot of just cool like signage. I guess signage is the way to
Giant
put it.
neon Hyperliquid sign.
Yeah, the blob, and then Hyperliquid, and
Sushi.
oh yeah, they had sushi there.
Good food.
Yeah, they had good food, and they had shirts. They were making shirts too.
Yeah,
Stephanie got a
Make your
we all
own
shirt.
got to make our.
shirts,
There's
yeah.
that shirt back there that we made for the basement. It has the logos of different teams who work on Hyperliquid, who also happen to have associations with the basement. So it's a custom-made shirt from the event.
Hey.
It was nice.
Yeah. So
I wonder where the money came from.
where did all the money come from? Yeah. Anyway.
Like actually though.
Well, anyways, regardless. So we have Hyper, and so afterwards, Andrew was like, "Oh, yeah, it was like this is just sitting at the hotel. We're just gonna chuck it out, or what's gonna happen?" And HyperCo didn't want it.
We left it behind.
They just like left it behind, and it was like, "Oh shit!" And it had like a little metal rod on the back and everything to hold it up. And they're like, "Yeah, we'll just chuck it out." And I'm like, "Well, hold on a second here. Hold on a second. I know a great place for this thing." And then I went back and like looked at it. I like walked. I like took a metro over to the hotel that it was at. And I go look at this thing, and I'm like, oh, it's bigger when I get up close. It's
huge,
literally
man.
5 feet tall. Okay, it's almost as tall as me.
I'm so glad you took it home.
So I basically walked this thing back because I was like, well, if I even take an Uber or anything, it's like not gonna work. I'm not gonna like go on the metro with this thing either because I'm gonna have like these people are just gonna like shun me out of like Singapore. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get fined, like just straight to jail, not even a fine. So I like started walking it down the street, and I'm like walking this thing all the way down back to my hotel. People looking at me, looking at this kitty cat. Some people smiling. Some people just
How'd
like.
you get to the airport?
So now I'm like, okay, I need to find a box to put this in. And I'm like, but it's solid. It's way too big. And I'm like, well, all right. Sorry, Hyper, but we're going to have to do a little surgery here. So I ended up just very nichely, nicely cutting around the bottom of the head. So we decapitated Hyper for a minute. And then I said, I'm sorry, your tail's a little wide. So we just zipped down the tail. So I think it's on like some pretty good seams.
It looks amazing.
And so then I'm like, all right, well, now I got to find a box for this. So I was like staying in this area called Little India. And so I'm like walking around and just like looking in alleys and everything. And suddenly I see this like this guy with like this huge box and it's full of like shoes. And so I'm like, do you guys need this box? And they're like, yeah, no, we'll get rid of it. And just come back in 10 minutes. So I come back in 10 minutes, the box still full. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so then my buddy shows up with a bag, and I'm like, I'll help you. This box is perfect.
I can't
And so I
believe
start
it.
taking boxes of his shoes out of this box with him. He's packing them into something else. And then finally he's like, all right, here you go. So now I'm like walking home with this box that fits basically Hyper's head, and then the body is the right size, and then the tail. Perfect.
Wow.
So I get into now I'm like, okay, well, I need like a knife to cut this a little bit more because the box is a little bit too big maybe. And, wanted to fold it down some more. And so I'm like looking for a knife. I found a roll of tape for $2, deadly. And then I'm looking for a knife and I'm like asking everyone, I'm like, can I buy this knife from you? Like just a box cutter. And then I get to this one last spot before I'm home and, or back to the hotel. And I'm like, can I just buy that knife from like, where is it? And then this other dude just popped, here, brother. Have this knife. And he just had a box cutter on him. He just like hooks me up with this thing. Deadly. Here we go. So I go back to the hotel, chop up Hyper.
Did you give him back?
No,
the box
I'm
cutter?
just like, I won't be able to give this back to you. I'm like,
Wow.
and he's like, can I buy it from you? He's just like, no, have it. So
That was
great
really
people,
nice.
good people. So that's where I made these incisions. That knife made the incisions with Hyper and the tail, and then put it in this box, stacked it in with a bunch of other merch and things, which if we've got a few things laid out here. With the rack and everything, with the T-shirts and some other stickers and things. But packed it into a box, took it to the airport, flew fine from Singapore to Taiwan. I was in Taiwan for a few days after, and then I get to the airport in Taiwan, and they're like, "Oh, sir," and then the lady starts measuring it, and she goes, "This exceeds our limits. Actually, this is an oversized baggage." I said, "What are you talking about? This thing came from Singapore to Taiwan. It has your stickers on it." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to tell her." Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Well, I'm not going to pay overcharge. What is it going to be like $100 to send this home? Like, no, get the hell out of here." And so there's this
You
guy's.
argued your way out of.
Well, so then I said, "Well, I'm gonna. Here's what they're like. Oh, well, this." I said, "What number does this need to be to fit your requirements?" And I said, "Oh, da da da." I says, "Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to open this box up. I'm going
cut
to
it down?
I'm gonna cut the box again, make it a little bit smaller, just so that it works for you. I'm gonna do it right fucking here." And they're just like, these people are just staring at me like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna make a scene. This thing's going home, and I'm not paying extra for it, And so. And they're like, "You have tape?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got fucking tape." And they're like, "You got a knife?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got a knife." So I had a knife in the box, the same box cutter that Buddy hooked the house up with. So I'm sitting there, I'm just performing surgery here in front of like
just to make the box a little smaller.
just to make it a little bit narrower. And then the guy was just like, shaking his head. And then it was just at the time for the flight attendants. They, all took off to go to the flight. And so we got like, the random guy sticking around there.
And you made it.
And so he's like, "Okay, sir, just to show you, it's like clearly listed here, 158 centimeters." I said, "I don't care, man. Like, whatever. I'm never going to ship a box like this ever again. I just want this thing home, for fuck's sakes." And so, afterwards, they just kind of shook their head, whatever, threw it on there. I ended up like forgetting to throw a couple things into the box because I was just like had shit scattered around. So I had to like jam that into my own things.
This only would happen to you too.
Yeah, hey, we
Like
made
at
it
the
work.
airport, like
Yeah,
like-
whatever. So anyways, that was it. Because I just like
It's
made it
master
small. I just like
surgeon.
cut it a bunch. Well, I don't know where I took the box home already because I had tape. That's what I'm saying. I had a whole roll. Yes, I taped it multiple times. So this thing has had like 3 or 4 applications of tape. Like I was running out of it, and I'm like, well, here we go. Hopefully it's gonna make it. And so
Bullish.
So now like Hyper has like obviously has been recapitated. I think that works.
surely.
And then its tail has been applied again, and just a couple little whisker damage because like the box was just a little narrow, so it had to
Yeah,
bend
yeah,
in.
it's
So we did
alright.
lose one whisker, but has been reattached.
Nice.
Overall, pretty
Great
successful.
success. Yeah.
Pretty big success
Thank
for
you,
for
Kaitlyn.
Hyper.
Yeah,
So
pretty
we're happy that
wonderful.
Hyper Operation Hyper Rescue Hyper whatever. Anyway, it's
Your
here.
mission
It's
title.
here now. So there we
Beautiful.
go. All right.
How's that?
Hey. Hyperliquid.
All right. And yeah, we're actually done. We've been talking for too long. So, yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. It was a great trip. Yeah, highly recommend you come.
Well, one thing I will say about this, I would not recommend I would recommend going to Singapore, but I would not buy a ticket for Token 2049. And I hope that the Token 2049 people hear this.
Really?
Well, because,
All right.
I mean, sorry to hold everyone here for a couple more minutes, but basically the most of the booths that I saw there, like what a miraculous amount of marketing malinvestments.
I would say, yeah, a lot of like
Garbage?
just like
Scams?
like,
Yeah, I couldn't
trading
believe it. Like,
platforms. Yeah,
The main floor, 90%, maybe higher, you know. And the main floor, I recognized two of them. One was MXC, which I don't use, and the other one was Cast, which I don't use, and I talked to them about why I don't use them. So
Oh, you let them have it. There
Speaking
was
of
a
neobanks,
there was a
you know.
ledger booth I saw that
on
was
the main floor,
no on the Superform floor.
but that's how I was up higher. I'm talking about main floor, and there was zip lines and
yeah, they
frickin'
had the zip line.
like
yeah.
stupid, like
Oh,
all
they
kinds
must
of
have spent so
outrageous,
much
like,
money,
There's
yeah.
million dollar like
What was
frickin'
that?
booths.
Weeks was like the
Oh, yeah,
with
Weeks.
the big,
I've
with the
heard
big
of them, but I don't
mechanical
even-
whales.
They had mechanical.
Yeah, they had like these little whales.
Anyway,
like,
straight to zero. Anyways, just marketing malinvestment that
Yeah.
is just incredible. So
But
Okay.
yeah,
is it marketing malinvestment, or are they representative of the people that want attention and make money off of people?
I don't know, but regardless, like I'm not sure if half of those planes are going to be even here next year. They probably
we
won't be able
should-
to afford
yeah, we
a
should
booth. They could have
track.
just, they'd have been better, as most people have been saying, just buy Bitcoin instead of that, and they'd probably have done better. But
I'm
anyway.
turning into David.
Yeah, see, that's what I was gonna say. David's in the back listening to Steph. He's just like, oh my god, I'm loving this. She's just gonna buy Bitcoin soon. She's gonna buy Bitcoin right away, and that's it. But she's gonna see it all. Everything's a scam, and eventually, it all just leads to Bitcoin. That's the game theory. Anyway, okay, that's enough on my end.
Nice, thank you. No, that's a good note to go out on. What was I gonna say? Side events. Was side events good? There's some good ones. What good side events we go to? Zelig dinner was nice. The VIP private events are the cool ones. I'm not saying go to. We went to. You missed out on Utah and B3. What was it called?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we saw a pretty wonderful presentation on just some of the great tech coming out of next level stuff. Really, good event. Like we had fun, right? Live
fun.
music, like
Live
free
music.
food. Yeah. Anyway. Athena event. I didn't get to go to the Athena event. I didn't get to go to any events. I was too busy slaving away at the booth. Hyperliquid events were really good. Hyperliquid events were
events were
solid.
great.
Hyperco, best food spread I've seen at any event. It was insane. There's like 3 rows of amazing
Yeah.
5
What was
courses.
the most cringe?
Like I said, the fucking
Oh, the
conference,
U-
main
oh,
floor,
Oh, yeah.
I
main
think-
floor conference.
Main
Cringe
floor,
as fuck.
probably worse than Utah, honestly, would
So
have
this
been.
Utah
Oh, yeah.
thing,
yeah.
it was like a room of Chinese aunties, and then I went to ask them like, yo, like Chinese, like, yo, what's up? Like, what do you? They're like, oh, I work for this company, and so do 5,000 other people, and here's our coin, and they just showed me this Chinese multi-level marketing scheme, like extracting money from Chinese aunties. And that was
Nice.
that was the most cringe event for me. But it was lit.
The
though. It was
aunties were
Did you guys ever use Double Way?
I haven't.
the aunties were.
What is that?
It was it was using the most gas fees on the Ethereum network in 2020. It was an MLM. It was a Ponzi.
Okay, yeah,
Just
amazing.
I don't know. People were
So-
trying to get me to use it, and I was confused as to why. Yeah,
Well, you
that
gotta
was
try.
probably
You
when I
gotta
was
try
feeling
Utah.
like you.
Say sorry.
That's probably when I was feeling like you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, Uniswap.
Status.
Now we can like, you don't need exchanges. And then
Makes me feel
that's what
about
people
the-
were using it for.
BitConnect.
There's similar
Yeah.
vibes for sure.
I think.
Is that an
ETH
okay
is
note
going
to end on?
5K, man.
Oh.
Ethereum going to 5K. Going
ETH to
reach
5K?
5K. Let's go.
Eat the 5K. Thank you for
financial
coming.
advice, we don't.
Thank you for coming.
Chinese
tonight.
mode activated.
Yeah. All right. That's. Are we good?
Right? Thank you.
Jesus, Ethan.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank